ॐ कालकालाय विद्महे कालातीताय धीमहि तन्नो कालभैरव प्रचोदयात्। ॐ हिङ्गुळे परमहिङ्गुळे अमृतरूपिणी तनुशक्तिमनशिवे श्री हिङ्गुळाम्बिकाय नमः। Namaskaram. First of all, as many of them you know, like it's been a couple of days I was not able to share or come on online and share information about the Bhairava, as I was in mid of some mandala sadhana. So first of all, sorry for it. So today, let us speak about one of a very unique Swaroopa of the Bhairava. Like many have heard about his name, but very few truly understand why this particular Swarupa, the form is connected to, we call it as Mahakavya. Mahakavya is actually like always we in Bhairava Anugraha, we always speak about this Mahamantra, Sarvam Bhairava Swarupam. The reason is everything is the very form of the Bhairava. Many times I have already told this. Whatever you see, if you are truly living in this particular time frame in this Bhuloka, or any of the creation who is living entity in this particular Bhuloka, he is governed by Kala. That's a reason this particular mantra, Mahamantra, Mahakavya mantra, Sarvam Bhairava Swarupam, is one of the mantra which is also connected to this Swarupa. Today, let this particular journey into the mystery of one Swarupa, which is mostly many of your social media influencers have already spoken about this. But today, we will try to understand from a Bhairava Tattva perspective what this particular Swarupa is all about. This is Akasha Bhairava. So, basically, when it comes to the Akasha Bhairava, many of them you would be knowing it and you have heard about his particular Swarupa. But unlike the most familiar form, such as Kala Bhairava or Batuka Bhairava, this particular Swarupa is also like well known. Akasha Bhairava is worshipped only in a few living traditions. Maybe you would have known only with regards to the certain parts of the corners of the India or in the Nepal especially. But in India, this particular Upasana has only been done from Guru Parampara. Like I can call it as this Upasana has been carefully preserved in the Shaiva Shakta traditions of Nepal, and from family lineage it has been followed. But within a very few Guru Parampara lineage, this has been shared from one Shishya, like one Guru to the other lineage perspective, where this sacred knowledge is passed from the Guru to the disciple rather from a public temple, or we can call it as public information. See, some information, let me just tell you, some information or all the information is not just like it can be said in an outline like a Harikatha. There is a same information which is shared in the temple and the same information which is shared in the Gurukula or something different. You may understand that actually there are the same topic, but why exactly there is a focus shift when it comes to the Harikatha as well as Gurukula. Particularly when it comes to the Harikatha, this information is shared without any kind of an experience. But in the Gurukula, it is being shared with utmost surrender and utmost knowledge. If it is something in their own experience, then only Guru will be able to share to the Shishya. It is not actually like anything, everything, all the topics can be shared to everyone in an open forum. Connecting to that, today we will talk about this particular Swarupa on a very high level information. And again, let me just also underline, there are many such kind of a detailed information which is shared in the our Bhairava Anugraha Telegram group. That particular group is not open forum where actually anyone can join. But here in this particular group, we only share which is truly meaning and appropriate for that particular Sangha, not for everyone. Okay. So coming back to the Akasha Bhairava. See, I believe you would be knowing it when it comes to the Akasha Bhairava, especially in Indra Jatra, Kathmandu, in the Nepal. We may have seen this particular Swaroopa. Like most well-known manifestation of Akasha Bhairava is found in the Indra Jatra. It is in the heart of the Kathmandu. Here, the devotees worship the magnificent silver face of Akasha Bhairava, okay, who is regarded as one of the great guardian deity of Kathmandu also. There is one particular tradition, according to that particular tradition, which is Nivar tradition. This particular form is connected to the ancient king called as Kirata Raja Yalambhara. Kirata Raja Yalambhara. He is also, like, over the time the great king came to be reversed not merely as a ruler but also as a protector whose consciousness merged into the boundless power of the Bhairava. This is actually one of a story. But here there is one more particular story which most of them would not be knowing. Like, many of them would be agreeing with me or many of them would not be agreeing with me. But this is being shared from the Guru Parampara Shishya information perspective, which I am trying to share it here. There is a very strong connection between this particular Swaroopa, especially as I told you, Kirata Raja Yalambhara, and he is also connected to the Barbarika. When it comes to the Barbarika, many people in the part of the India also know him as a Khatusham. Like, many people know, like, when it comes to the Barbarika, also he is known as in Khatusham. He is a great grandson of the Bhima, the son of Gatotkacha. According to the Akasha Bhairava, the powerful guardian deity of the Kathmandu, he has been also called as, he is the same king who was so called as the Kirata Raja Yalambhara, is also the another name of Barbarika, another name of Khatusham. It is important to understand that this connection is not found in the critical editions or what we call it as of the Mahabharata or major Puranas, or the information it has not been shared. It belongs to the rich, I can call it as rich rituals, heritages, as well as oral traditions which is being shared from the Guru Parampara to the information. Like, why exactly this particular he was being called as an Akasha Bhairava? Like, especially in the Nepal, among the Kirata or Nevra community, this particular Swaroopa has been repeatedly spoken about. See, the Nepal tradition, according to the Kirat tradition, King Yalambara, the King Yalambara of the Nepal is identified also as Barbarika. At the Mahabharata war, I believe you would be knowing about this, as Mahabharata war was about to begin, Barbarika arrived to the Kurukshetra with an extra vow. He would always fight on one side of the weaker army. I believe you would be knowing about his story. There is nothing I need to say about this, because he had that power, and that power was known by only one person, that is Krishna. Bhagavan Krishna knew that because of this vow, the balance of the battle would actually consistently shift, because he had told that I would be fighting towards a weaker in army. Making this statement, when Krishna knew about this particular vow, what he had it, to preserve the dharma, Krishna asked the Barbarika for the greatest offering which no one or no warrior have ever done in the history of the battle. Offering imaginable, his own head to witness the entire the Kurukshetra. Before accepting that sacrifice, Krishna actually blessed him with a boon that even after separating from his body, his head witnesses the entire Mahabharata from the highest place, overlooking to the battle, completely looking to the battle. Here, this particular keeping in highest place of Barbarika's head is also, it is considered as, or it has been said that his head became the witness of the Bhairava. He became the Akasha himself. The Sanskrit word Akasha means sky, space, ether. In Nepali tradition, often two beautiful explanation has been given. The first is symbolical, as I told you, Akasha is as Akasha. Since the Barbarika served his head, remained about the battlefield, witnessing everything without any kind of an attachment, he became associated with the limitless of the sky. That particular sacrifice made him as limitless. That's why actually Krishna was able to bless him. In another tradition says that after the war, his divine head traveled through the heavens and eventually reached to the Kathmandu, where it was discovered, enriched, and sacred manifestations came to the worship, and this particular head was being called as Akasha Bhairava, the guardian deity of the Kathmandu. Today, entire Nepal or Nevra community actually do Aradhana of this particular Swaroopa of the Bhairava as Akasha Bhairava. See, there are two traditions. One particular, I can call it as one particular in a what do you call, from a social media perspective, as a one true tradition, as a one hero we can call it as. This is where the tradition of the Nepal and Rajasthan actually take different yet equal beautiful paths. Same particular Swarupa of the Yalambara, known as Kirtimukha, or even he is also called Barbarika. In Rajasthan, Barbarika is worshipped as Katusham. Like especially when Krishna had given a blessings to him primordially, this particular Swarupa, as Krishna has given a has a, Krishna has given a blessings to him, he became like actually Aradhana primordially like a Vaishnava Swarupa. Shaiva Swarupa, Vaishnava Swarupa. Shaiva Swarupa is where actually he became the Swarupa of Akasha Bhairava. As Barbarika, when he became as what we call it as Kirataraja Yalambara. But here in Rajasthan, he was being most connected to the primordially like a Vaishnava Swarupa character. In the Nepal, same Swarupa as Akasha Bhairava, he has been considered as a fearless because he chopped off his own head. Gradually, for the divine warriors, for the ask of Mahakrishna, he sacrificed his own head. And his father also told that actually he need to support this particular Kurukshetra. And to witness the Kurukshetra, he gave the sacrifice. And finally, he was the only witness who did the entire Kurukshetra and was able to tell what exactly he was able to see. From Shaiva, he was able to witness only Krishna. But in Vaishnava, I'm sorry, from a Vaishnava, he witnessed only the Krishna. But when it is come to the Shaiva, that particular face was being considered as Bhairava Swarupa. The tradition form integrate part of the festival, such as one particular festival which has been connected to this particular Akasha Bhairava is Indra Jatra. Here, Bhairava literally is Barbarika. This is what the important question what we need to understand. From the standpoint of perspective, when a classical Shaiva scriptures talks about when it comes to the Barbarika, Akasha Bhairava is an eternal form of the Shiva. His existence does not depends on the historical figures of the Shaiva. The identification of Akasha Bhairava with the Barbarika or through the king Yalambara belongs to the Nepal sacred religional tradition rather than many of them actually who speak about the spiritual traditions. See, let me just put it like this. In Nepal tradition, Yalambara, Barbarika is also considered as Akasha Bhairava. In classical Shaiva or in a traditional Vaishnava tradition connected, Akasha Bhairava is the eternal form of Vishnu. That is the reason he became Katusha. So, but here what we need to understand is when it comes to the Shaiva tradition, Akasha Bhairava is eternal form of the Shiva. While Yalambara or a Barbarika story or whatever the story it is, neither understand or distinguish between both. The simple arises different streams of spiritual connection heritage which has been connected in both the traditions, in Shaiva as well as Vaishnava. See, here what we need to understand here is over the time, gradually the King Yalambara, he been revived as not merely as a ruler, but he was being considered as the protector, or we can call it as who is a guardian, whose consciousness merged into the powerless, or we can call it as his power was got merged into the boundless energy of Bhairava, which is as we spoke about the Shaiva tradition perspective. See, every year during a grand festival, as we spoke about Indra Jatra, thousands of devotees gathers before him, and sacred faces rituals are being performed. You maybe have seen like one particular dance, like they actually um, put a cloth and actually there are the dances. And this particular dance is actually connected to the Akasha Bhairava only. And here there is one more connection. The rituals are performed, offerings are made for the what we call it as living goddesses of Kumari. Maybe actually on this particular um, topic we will talk in detail later. Like here, living goddesses Kumari is also being called as Durga Devi, or we can call it as Telju Bhavani, or especially in Tulja Bhavani in the Maharashtra it has been called. Telju Bhavani is actually in the um, Nepal it is called. But actually, if you see, she is a Swaroopa of Durgama. So this is the beautiful celebration where Bhairava as well as Shakti and the royal tradition of the Nepal comes together, especially called Indra Jatra. In Indra Jatra, these are the three: Shaiva as a Akasha Bhairava, Ma Kumari, goddesses Kumari Devi is being Telju Bhavani is being done the Aradhana, and the Nepali, as I told you about when it comes to the Kirata Kirataraja Yalambara. Kirataraja Yalambara, as I don't know, like many of them information is written in a different way when it comes to the historians, especially when it comes to the Nepali um, tradition. The information what I'm trying to share it, this has been shared as, but when it comes to the different scriptures, it is actually been written in a different way. But as always told, let's not get concluded or go into a discussion as what particular Swarupa made this particular energy to be active, where actually we can understand about the Purna Swarupa of the Bhairava. Let's only connect to the consciousness of the Bhairava, where we can understand him and experience him through the different short stories. Here in Akasha Bhairava is not worshipped merely as a Farsi Devata, but unseen guardian of the entire Kshetra, who silently watches over the entire valley. Kathmandu, previously it was a valley, and it used to be offered like an open sky, because Akasha is nothing but open sky, and his Aradhana need to be done in the open sky. That's how actually this tradition all started with. There is one more actually when it comes to the Akasha Bhairava, it is Halchok, Kathmandu, another sacred place connected with the Akasha Bhairava. It is also near to the Kathmandu. So for the century, devotees also worshipped him, were the ancient, him also as a protector. During the festival, prayers are offered in the protector, asking him on the victory of the enemies, prosperity of the life, because Akasha is limitless. Once you actually get him into your life, the prosperity or the victory will be limitless. This is what actually the Nepali tradition has been experienced Bhairava in the Akasha Bhairava Swarupa perspective. And he has also been considered as a removal of unseen obstacles in the life. Even today, Halchok represents a deepest tantric atmosphere where even the rituals have been done symbolically as well as an ancestral traditionals continued from lineage to the lineage. But here, I will pause here. The reason is there are many tantric information which has been connected to the Akasha Bhairava, but this is not the forum where actually we can share everything and anything on this particular Swarupa. But one thing I would like to highlight, which is about the Nivra tradition, that is a Shaiva as well as Vajrayana Tantra, or we can call it as Vajrayana tradition perspective. Beyond the temple, Akasha Bhairava continues to live in the sacred tradition of Nivara community. Even till dated, this particular community is the only one who does the Aradhana of the Bhairava in this particular Swarupa. His presence is seen during the ceremonial processions. As I spoke, or as I already told you, the masked dance. Maybe in the social media and the Instagram, you may have already seen that people wearing one particular cloth, they will be doing a dance in the Nepali tradition. The face will be completely closed and they will be dancing in a group. This particular is actually connected to the Nivara Vajrayana tradition perspective. Here, he is that particular face. It like it is actually from Akasha Bhairava Swarupa perspective. They have closed their face, and he is connected to the Devatas. It is the guardian deity ritual is being performed in the particular dance. Here, Akasha Bhairava is worshipped not as a protector of the place only, but also as a cosmic guardian. To keep the orders perfectly, he is being considered as ruler of the entire cosmic plane. Even if you see, when it comes to the Akasha, maybe we will talk about this, but one of the most beautiful aspects of Akasha Bhairava is that he is connected into a different Swarupas like Shaiva, Vaishnava, Shakta, as well as Vajrayana, Buddhist tradition perspective also. There may be a different rituals being followed, but Bhairava is remains same, remembering us the divine cannot be limited the religious boundaries. This is what actually the Akasha Bhairava is trying to teach. Do not gauge him with one particular tradition. Do not gauge him with one particular devatas. He is being considered, or he cannot be limited to the religious boundaries. He is everything. That is the reason when it comes to the Bhairava, we speak about one particular Mahakavya mantra, Sarvam Bhairava Swarupam. See, this particular Nivara tradition, or a esoterically like Buddhist tantric perspective, this lineage outside of the Nepal, Akasha Bhairava is it is where I can call it as rarely been worshipped in the public temples. You may have never seen Akasha Bhairava being done a aradhana in the temple, because in the name only everything is there. When it comes to the Akasha, his entire cosmos. Instead, his upasana serves within the Guru Parampara among a practitioners of the Kaula, Trika, and other Shaiva tradition perspective. Even in Kaula also the Akasha Bhairava sadhana has been done. But again, it comes to completely into the Tantric sadhana perspective. Maybe sometime we will talk about this. But here, let us come back. These seekers, Shaiva, Shakta, Vaishnava, Buddhist, do not approach him for the wealth or a success or a worldly achievements. He's been, they are always seek him as an embodiment of limitless, what we call it as limitless consciousness. This particular Swarupa is not being done only for the the success or a worldly activities which normally been done, but here this particular Swarupa Aradhana need to be done once you feel that I am need to be connected to the consciousness, not the limited, unlimited consciousness, because he is not limit, he is a limitless consciousness. For them, the true temple of the Akasha Bhairava is not outside. Here, even there is a particular secret called as Akasha Bhairava is connected to something called Chidakasha, the infinity, or we can call it as inner sky of the awareness. Even especially when it comes to the seventh chakra sadhana, this particular word many of them have heard, like we need to see the limitless connection between us as well as the world within us, and the world within us is what truly called as Chidakasha. So now let me actually tell you one particular story. As you believe, like connecting to this particular story, you may be able to understand better. You have all known about um, one particular when the connection of the Bhairava has been said from a story perspective, we will be able to connect it very much better. So on those lines, let me just share you one particular a short story. In the Himalayas, in the foothills of the Himalayas, on the night where the mountain the, were very silent, the sky filled with a countless stars was active. Near the foothill was a very small ashrama where a young disciple actually often sat. He used to sit and he used to sit alone and gaze about the vast sky. His name was Amruteshwara. Amruteshwara was always wondering how exactly the sky is so beautiful and how exactly he was able to see so many. Especially after the ashrama, he used to go and gaze the skies. And whenever he used to gaze the skies, he used to feel something blissful. That blissful state connection he used to establish. But after gazing into the vast sky, every evening he would simply look upward and think about one particular question. The more he looked, the more peace he used to become at. Like he never used to actually recite any kind of a mantra, nor any kind of an effortless of any kind of a doing a japamala. That is the reason, especially when the saints, the monks used to go to the tip of the hill and they used to do a sadhana, and whenever they used to feel that after a couple of mantra japa, they used to only gaze about the sky. That limitless consciousness connection of Akasha will be reverberating in him. And this is what happened even to the this particular young sadhaka. Just as incredible bliss, what happened? Unable to understand what exactly this particular feeling is all about, he finally approached his guru. He went to Guru and he asked, like, Gurudeva, whenever I, after completing the ashrama activities, whenever I go and sit into the valley and see the sky, the limitless, the the sky limitless, the stars, when I see it, automatically there is some kind of blissness which is getting activated in me. What is that? The disciple looked towards the endless sky and master actually asked, what? He asked one particular question. This is actually very beautifully connected when it comes to. The Guru asked to the Shishya, like what made you to ask this question? And this particular jigyasa, this particular question, when it is got arrived from the Shishya, he asked one particular question like, Guruvarya, every river has its devatas. Even the fire has Agni Deva. Even when it comes to the wind, it has Vayu Deva. When it comes to the ocean, we have Varuna. Even to the Mother Earth, worships as Bhudevi. But what is endless sky? The limitless Akasha has holds the everything. Like, as from a human consciousness perspective, when we see the sky, we only see that sun, planets, moon, stars, and even the world themselves. This is what actually we see it. But who is the devata of this particular Akasha? This question, when it got arrived at that sadhaka, Guru was able to understand, oh, okay, this particular Shishya has come to a consciousness where we need to explain him about one particular Swaroopa of the Bhairava, which need to be known. He smiled and he told, you have asked the question that every great sages hesitate to ask. Many of them actually do not even see about the sky. Even actually, maybe they have crossed their ages, like from childhood days to the old, to become old. They have seen the sky, but they have never given a attention for 5 minutes or a 10 minutes to gaze at the sky. But this particular gazing to this particular shishya made him something aware. This is what, why the natures are the masters for us, which is going to teach many things about the Swarupas, about the Bhairava in the different way of consciousness. The disciple moved very close. The sacred fire was crackling on that night, and the Guru pointed towards the heaven and he told one particular thing. What do you see there? Shishya was like, as everyone, he used to see the sky, the open sky, and he told stars, Gurudeva. What else? And beyond the stars, what is? He told like beyond the star, it is like emptiness or darkness, and beyond darkness, what is there? Shishya was not able to gaze because he has never known above the darkness what it is. Then Guru exactly he nodded and he told, the sky has no beginning. It has no end. It has no walls. It is supported everything. It is limitless. Yet nothing can stain it. He continued telling, long before even the mountains were exactly born, or even the ocean was born, whatever he connected as the Agni, whatever he has connected as a mountain, whatever it is as Buddha, before all this was being born, before the wind began to blow as Varuna, before even the time started counting its movement as Bhudevi, the entire existence, only infinity consciousness was active. And that infinity consciousness is none other than Akasha. When the great Tantric sages explains about the infinity, the consciousness as a boundless expanse of the space itself, they normally contemplate, means they can limitless presence of this particular consciousness is called Bhairava. The Bhairava with the Akasha Swarupa. That is the reason in the greatest tradition, even in the Nepal, I need to just bow down. The way they have understood this particular Swarupa is, it is like limitless. Limitless consciousness has become the part of their life. Here, coming back to the story, the Guru again explained, when he told about the Akasha Bhairava, the Shishya was able to ask, Akasha Bhairava is the Lord of the sky, Gurudeva? The Guru gently said, no. Akasha is not only the Bhairava. The sky is not only the Bhairava. He is far greater. The sky is not his kingdom. The sky is not his expression. He does not sit above the heavens, as many traditions tell that actually in the heaven, actually those woman Devata sit. He is above than the heavens. Whatever we call it as Swargaloka, Narkaloka, he is above than that. The heavens themselves arises within his limitless awareness. The disciple was completely in shock. After a while, among one more Shishya who was sitting next to the, he asked question that Gurudeva, in the form is so supreme, why do we hear so little about him? Why exactly no one spoke about him? Why no one exactly know about him? Why exactly know about sense about him? Why are there not countless temples dedicated to the Akasha Bhairava? The Gurudeva smiled and actually he explained, because the infinity cannot be easily be enclosed within the stones. Limiting of him in one particular temple cannot be done. The most form of the Bhairava, this is what he reveals themselves through the temples, idols, as well as the rituals. You may have seen many of the devatas, whatever we see, we have idols, we have actually rituals, we have temples. But here in Akasha Bhairava Swarupa perspective, very few, no temples, no chat, what we call it as the roof. Still, out of the compassion, he allowed a few sacred places on this earth to preserve his remembrance. That is why Akasha Bhairava Swarupa is called infinity consciousness. The Gurudeva here, he also explained the connection about the completely to the north, the ancient Kathmandu valley like stands one of the most sacred manifestation of the Bhairava, and he also explained about the Indra Chok, and he was also able to explain about the Bhairava, Akasha Bhairava, how a majestate face of Akasha Bhairava became the guardian of entire that valley Kshetra. For the centuries, he has been in guardian in this particular valley, and here he also explained many of the things when it comes to the Kathmandu perspective. But here there was like seeking approach him for a one reason to become a vast. Everyone look puzzled because when Gurudeva was able to explain about it is a limitless consciousness. One particular Shishya was able to understand what is what is this puzzle of limitless. When angry comes, watch it with a cloud moving across the sky. When happiness comes, let it shine through the morning sun. When the sorrow comes, allow it to rain. And when everything touch, witness it. This is what Gurudeva was able to tell. This is what called as an infinity, limitless. The infinity awareness, the untouched witness, the untouched consciousness, that is Akasha Bhairava. In this particular Swarupa, the Guru Shishya Parampara, whatever they are trying to point out, they were trying to connect one particular information. Guru was able to explain this very clearly. He was trying to share something as what we, as scriptures speak, as even from a yoga also talks about Chidakasha, the inner sky of the consciousness. See, this is not where the real pilgrimage begins. Okay, Chidakasha is not a place where actually you can go there. It is not the Chardham, or it is not actually the one of a Jyotirlinga where you can visit it. No. Sitting and gazing at the sky, you can experience that infinity consciousness connection into your life. and that is where your pilgrimage begins. The highest worship of a Akasha Bhairava is not performed only through going to the temples or any of the char dhams or Jyotirlingas, or even performing the puja with the flowers, or performing the puja with the lamps, or performing the puja with the rituals. No, this is not it is. It is performed when the restless mind dissolves into the limitless awareness. When this particular consciousness connect, you become one in that infinity. That's where actually you start doing aradhana of the Bhairava, the sacred fire. What we need to understand here is people spend their life searching for the Bhairava in a distant temple, going to the each temples, doing the one particular. Again, they only do one particular sadhana on particular tithi. As I told you, he is infinity consciousness. Do you think that actually your Panchanga tithi is can hold him and tell him that actually you can do a aradhana of him in this particular time? When you are alive, when you feel that you are still breathing, that breathing itself is none other than infinity, because you are breathing in between a consciousness, and that infinity consciousness is Akasha, that is Chidakasha. To activate, consciously knowing about that particular state is going to what make you to know about the temple. The temple which is not outside, the temple is within you. There is no need to actually go and climb any kind of a mountains or any kind of a cross any kind of a rivers. Even the countless sacred sharons going there and bowing down, but one of those journeys is blessed. I'm not denying it. That is also very much important. That is very much important for this deha to do a deha dandana. We need to perform all those things. But let me understand. But one day, every seeker must begin to understand what exactly the greatest pilgrimage of all is. The journey is from the outer sky to the infinity sky within. This is what even the yoga is also trying to share us. For the day you discover that no thoughts can stain your true nature, no sorrow can actually diminish it, no fear can impress you or imprison you, or you will understand why the Siddhas never said, but they used to tell one thing. They used to just go and sit, doing nothing. That nothingness is what actually is Akasha Bhairava. And the Akasha Bhairava lives in the sky, within us and even outside us. But very few of them actually give some small amount of awareness to actually watch him. The sky itself lives as Akasha Bhairava. Once you start experience him in the outer sky, automatically you will be able to understand him inside you, and the Chidakasha will be able to activate, and you will be able to know about his Purna Swarupa, where his this particular Swarupa is connected to Sarvam Bhairava Swarupam. This particular information, maybe you have heard about or many people have said about it, but let me just tell you very clearly, the infinity sky of Akasha represents the limitless consciousness itself. In this particular light, Akasha Bhairava does not, what we call it as, simply means becoming the guardian of the deities. He is actually like Varuna Deva, Vayu Deva, Agni Deva. No, it means that the transcendence, personal identity, dissolving the limited, what we call it as I am able to the infinity witness. That is actually truly called as experiencing the inner Chidakasha. The boundless sky, whatever we see, the consciousness spoken in many ways in the Shaiva Tantra. But here we need to understand one, as a Bhairava sadhakas, unless you chop off, as Barbarika has his own head as I, you cannot ever imagine that you will be able to experience Bhairava. Perhaps This is why the tradition of Akasha Bhairava continues to inspire many of the seekers. Even till dated, many of the people are not able to understand him. They're able to only go to temples and try to find him, do a rituals and try to only from external act they are trying to do. But unless they chop off themselves, that I, the Chidakasha, unless it is being found, you will never be able to experience a Akasha Bhairava. This is a beautiful together where even in the tradition of what we call it as Shaiva, Vaishnava, Shakta, as well as Buddhist, Vajrayana Tantra is being spoken about one particular Swarupa which cannot be holded in one particular Swarupa. It should be only experience. See here, maybe actually I'm trying to share on a very high level, but my request to you is listen to this video once again, because many of the information which has been shared cannot be understood by once. This is the reason I always tell, like when it comes to the Bhairava, understanding him, thinking him as only one, and he thinking means you gauging him as one particular, as he being the only as a Kshetrapala, he is only a Dwarapalaka. Sarvam Bhairava Swarupam. Even if you think about any kind of a Devi, Devatas, doing any kind of a sadhana, tantra, mantra, japa, all these things actually are governed, owned, and connected only to the Bhairava. That is the reason Bhairava is everything. This is the reason we always tell Bhairava is infinity. The infinity consciousness of connection between knower as well as known is what makes you the gap to understand what exactly the Chidakasha is going to open to us. Maybe with this note, on this particular video, we'll take a pause. We'll come and share one more Swarupa of our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava, talking about him, knowing about him, understanding him, experiencing him, and knowing how exactly our Guru Swarupa Bhairava is connected to everything around this cosmos. Om Kalakalaya Vidmahe Kalatitaya Dhimahi Tanno Kala Bhairava Prachodayat. Om Hingule Paramahingule Amrita Rupini Tanu Shakti Manashva Shringula Maham. Namaskaram.